going to hate me for this one. Do you know who I would hate to be in 2026? I would actually hate to be a man. I would hate to be a single man looking for some love. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because the expectations that women have these days are just on another level. They're on another level. And he needs to be this, he needs to be that, he needs to be on this much money, he needs to be able to provide me with this, that, I'm going to tell you something. Speaking from experience, I'm 41 years old. I have had the man that could buy me whatever I wanted. I've been in that relationship, and I can tell you now, the thing that is more valuable than that a man can bring to the party once you're married and you're settled and you've got children, is the man who's willing to help you. The man who can see you drowning and is willing to help you. I do not buy the story of, well, I work hard, so I shouldn't have to help. Excuse me, my husband's a concreter. My husband's a concreter. He works in a physically demanding role, and he will still make beds. He will still vacuum when he sees shit on the floor. He still pulls his weight, and especially when I'm sick or I'm drowning or if the kids aren't sleeping or the kids are sick, he ups the ante. Why? Because he doesn't want to see me suffer. So all these women out there with these bloody checklists, right? Just rethink your checklist, okay? Because you can have the person that can give you all the physical things, but you know what? It's an illusion. Take it from me. Take it from your big sister, Lauren. I've lived that life. And I wouldn't swap this life for the world.
For years, the assumption was simple. Men needed relationships more than women did. The cultural narrative repeated it everywhere. In movies, TV shows, and social media. Men were portrayed as the ones constantly chasing love, approval, and validation. The idea that men might actually prefer being single was rarely taken seriously. But in 2026, that assumption is starting to collapse.
Recently, I've been hearing a lot of buzz around the 2019 Morgan Stanley study that predicts 45% of women between the ages of 25 to 44 will be single and childless by 2030. We're at 41% in 2018, so it's expected that more and more women will be single and childless as the years roll on. I was first introduced to this data last week via TikTok. I wish I had the original video, but I scrolled past it quickly in a panic. My first reaction was, wow, I'm gonna be single forever. I kind of felt bad for myself for a second. I thought, such a shame. What a sad, companionless life I'll live. When I actually began imagining myself alone in my 30s, I was struck with an overwhelming sense of relief. I can stop putting so much pressure on myself to figure out my career today, right now. I can stop telling myself I'm a lazy piece of shit for not having everything, my career, a relationship, a plan figured out today, right now. According to Morgan, I got no kids to worry about for a minute. As long as I can afford to go on the seemingly few bachelorette trips to Mexico that are going to happen, I'm Gucci. I can stop putting so much pressure on myself to make a lot of money, travel the world, and do everything I want to do in the next 3 years before I turn 30. What it sounds like Morgan is trying to tell us is that the girls are going to be having Dua Lipa summers for the next solid decade. What is a Dua Lipa summer, you ask? Okay, you know how Dua Lipa is always on vacation? She's with a big group of friends, other hot girls, seemingly some gays, seemingly some straight guys. Everyone's stylish, wearing one-of-a-kind string bikinis paired with rock-hard abs. They make delicious home-cooked meals at their shared estate, smoke cigarettes by the pool, and have moonlit photo shoots. That's gonna be us. Maybe not right now. Maybe not this summer. Maybe not even next summer. But we're going to stack our bread. Save up for that stud bag and the vintage Chanel sunglasses and the blue marine sheer dress. I might be single and childless, but I will be the best dressed at the handful of friends' weddings. Invite me. I'll be the Dua Lipa of honor. The Google AI overview revealed to me that no, Morgan Stanley is not actually a person. Morgan Stanley was started by Henry Morgan, JP's grandson, the JP, and Harold Stanley, some other guy. So while I can't thank Morgan for giving me this peace of mind. I can thank finance as a whole for bringing us something new to aspire to. The many single and childless Dua Lipa summers ahead.
A growing number of men are discovering something unexpected about modern life. Being single isn't the nightmare it was once portrayed to be. In fact, many men are finding that life becomes simpler and more predictable when they're not constantly navigating the pressures of dating and relationships.
Is anyone else noticing the epidemic in women completely decentralizing men from their lives? And this is not a video. This is not a video to bash men in any way. It's an observation that I found in myself, and I'm not a man hater, but after COVID, in a post-COVID world, more and more women are completely removing men from their lives, their worlds. And I remember 10 years ago, I've been divorced for 10 years. And for the first 5 years out, men were still a center in my world, and all of the women that I was associating with, and they were all actively dating and searching. And this was kind of the center of our lives. And we would go out, it was all about men. And now you guys don't even have you got no playing time right now. When I'm with my women friends, we are talking about our businesses, our careers. A lot is about our physical health, travel, buying summer homes. Women now have taken back the energy that they would give to men to give to themselves. And I noticed that after not having men in my life for a long time, how much more powerful that I have become. And knowing that I can do everything on my own, everything, pay every single bill all by myself, create businesses, raise kids. And again, I'm not hating men, because we need you. We do need you. I need you to lift those heavy things, and I need you to plow my driveway maybe, or stuff like that, or I don't know, but I can pay you for that with the money that I make. I can pay you. So maybe that's it, that women are just realizing that. How much do you bring to the table? Again, not shitting on men. Maybe this is turning into that a little bit. Just a little awareness. But that's hit me a lot lately when I'm no one's dating. No one wants to date. And then when men are in their lives, they're just not center stage. They just don't give them that much attention or energy. So any other women feeling this, and by the way, I'm in my 40s, so I have experience with all of this. But so women in your 40s, 50s, chime in.
Instead of spending their energy trying to impress someone, many men are redirecting that energy into themselves. They're focusing on careers, business ideas, side hustles, fitness, and building financial stability. When a man starts seeing progress in his own life, chasing validation from others begins to feel less important.
In a shocking turn of events, my 2026 bingo card has freed me up for the streets. Yeah. And in the streets I shall be eventually. If you see me in those streets. Actually, one of you has already seen me in the streets, and shut the fuck up. But here's the thing. We need to set a new ground rule, because I have a pattern that I need to break up with for this next iteration of me being out there dating, and that is, I'm not allowed to date older men anymore. I'm saying this is an accountability session between me and the fucking internet. I'm not allowed to date older men anymore. If you see me ever in your lifetime doing anything with an older man, slap me the fuck in the face. I'm not even joking, because it's an affliction, it's a curse, it's a pattern that has gotten me nowhere good, and I'm sprinkling holy water on myself. If you are an older man, this is my new rule. If you were not of age to be in high school with me, you're too old for me. Period. Don't look at me, don't talk to me. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Go back to where you came from. Don't slide up on me. Don't look at me. Don't fucking look at me. Don't look at me. I'm not interested. I'm officially too old for old men. I'm officially too old for older men. No, thank you. I don't want it. I don't want it. No. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Cause me, I'm about to be 37. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm too grown for this. Can't do it anymore. I really can't. So if you graduated high school before 2003, you're too old for me. You're too old for me. I rebuke you. Get away from me. And on the other end of the spectrum, like ideally, you would have experienced life before the internet took over. So like, baby, come correct before you think about talking to me. I'm still working on that one. I'm a little more flexible there. I'll get back to you on that one. Anybody else? I'm too grown for this shit. Gen X, you guys had some good music, but some of you guys are unwell.
Another major factor is peace. A lot of men say that when they remove the drama, arguments, and emotional chaos that often comes with unstable relationships, their lives become far calmer. They can plan their time, control their finances, and focus on goals without constant distractions.
You better be a really high value woman to play that game.
I've decided that I don't do the whole boyfriend, girlfriend thing anymore. To me, that language, guys, it feels a bit high school. I'm not interested in being anyone's girlfriend. What I'm interested in is being a wife. And for me, it doesn't make sense to give someone exclusive access to me unless there is a formal, tangible commitment, as in I am engaged or married.
She wants to force you to commit, right? I get the sense that maybe this one had a guy who didn't want to commit. And the way that sometimes women will try to force you to commit, like force you to do things, is to say, well, I'm not going to be exclusive until I have a ring on it. So I'm just out. I'm not going to be your girlfriend. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of that. I'm going to be out on the prowl and I can be taken by any guy. I'm still available. So until you put a ring on it, I'm not yours and I could be taken away from you.
What's surprising some people is that these men don't appear miserable at all. In fact, many of them look relaxed. They're traveling, enjoying hobbies, spending time with friends, and building routines that give them stability. The image of the lonely, desperate single man simply doesn't match what many people are actually seeing.
People keep asking, why am I single? The real question is whether men are offering something better than my peace. Hi, I'm Kadina, and I analyze relationship patterns for a living. Here's what I'm seeing in 2026. Women aren't comparing men to other men. Men are competing against peaceful mornings without stress. They're competing against best friends who show up consistently. They're competing against things that women love to do without the drama. They're competing against their own money and freedom, the freedom to do what they want to do, whenever they want to do it. They're competing against having to not answer to anyone, or having to negotiate, or having to convince or persuade you. They don't have to make compromises with themselves, and they don't run the risk of being hurt. The competition isn't with other men, but it's with the life that they've built. The reality is they have their own homes, their own cars, their own money. They pay their own bills, and they can get up and leave whenever they want. They can go on trips or vacations without having to ask, and they don't have to feel guilty. So when men ask, what do women bring to the table? They're asking the same exact thing. Because if men don't even want to pay for your dinner or coffee because they're not sure if they like you yet, or if they do pay for your dinner or your coffee or your drinks, they expect something from you or give bare minimum effort while expecting princess treatment. They want to be chased. They want you to plan the date and sometimes drive them around if they're emotionally unavailable or not healed. But then they call you too much or too dramatic and then want you to comfort them when they're having a hard time, or need you to fix their problem, or giving inconsistency while asking for you to be loyal. Then what's the incentive for women to want to date? Bringing that to the table isn't better than her peace. They're not stressed about their bills. They're not wondering if they're stepping into a bare minimum relationship, if they'll text them back or plan a date or actually do what they say. They're not anxious about where this is going. Their peace is power. Their peace is secure. Their peace was built. Their peace is constant. Women in 2026 are not giving up on love. They're just giving up on settling. They're giving up on the bare minimum and low effort or non-existent effort. Women are not playing hard to get. They're just uninterested in low effort. Men are competing with women's effort to heal. They're competing with women's effort to do the inner work. They're competing against women's desire to want the best for themselves. Men underestimate how much women value themselves, value their time, their peace, the happiness that they can bring themselves. Men underestimate how strong their friendships are and how much their friends value them. And the men that don't understand this are losing. If you're a woman choosing your peace, I'd love to be friends with you. And if you're wondering if you're settling, I made a free quiz, link in description.
At the same time, modern dating expectations have grown more complicated. Many men feel like the standards placed on them have increased while the rewards of relationships have become less clear. When the effort required keeps rising, some men eventually ask themselves whether the investment is worth it.
Saw a statistic the other day, and it basically said there are more single people now in their 20s to 30s than there have ever been. I can't remember what the exact number was, but it was substantial, and I feel like I have seen that. Everywhere I look, my own friends, people in my life in their 30s or nearing 30 and are still single. Amazing people that absolutely should have no problem finding anybody. So I just wonder why that is. I do think to a degree people are more content waiting to find somebody, but definitely not in all cases. It's that people finally aren't settling. They're not accepting crappy relationships as a lifelong partner. It does make me sad too, though, how many friends and people I know that are, again, amazing and want to find someone and get married, and they just can't. What is happening? What is there just no good men? Men, you need to step up and be better. What is going on? I mean, I do know that that's true. It does seem like there are less good men. Anyways, yeah. What is happening?
Rather than complaining endlessly about the system, a lot of men have taken a quieter approach. They've simply stepped back. Instead of arguing about dating rules or social expectations, they're choosing to focus on areas of life they can fully control.
Why do women promote singleness so much? I've seen so many videos over the past couple of days like, oh, I need y'all to release the shackles from wanting a man, going out wanting a man. We are supposed to be together. I have always operated more effectively when I've been with a woman, especially a good one. The sole reason fundamentally we are on this planet is to procreate.
Do you see how quickly you centered yourself, talking about how much better a good woman made your life, but how you never mentioned how you made her life better? That's women's issue these days. Men want to be the center of their own universe, but they also want to be the center of hers. Men put in their dating profiles they want a woman to cook and clean and what position she likes to be put in. But you can't ask them if they'll provide for you, or you're a gold digger, you're a user, you're lazy. Women are realizing that they don't get enough reciprocity from these men. Men get more ROI. They get more of a return on their investment. Sometimes the only thing a man wants to offer a woman is money, and most of the time it's not even offering her that. Perhaps you should go back and read the viral British Vogue article, Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing? Because you'll find there are a lot of women that are embarrassed to be with men because of all that you all require with so little in return. You guys want to offer women coffee dates and walking dates and boba dates and gym dates? You think everybody who wants a dinner from you is a gold digger? And then you also want half of her paycheck? Well, who's really digging the gold? Some of you are labor diggers. You're digging her for her labor. The reason why singleness has been promoted is because women are realizing more and more that they don't get as much back out of the relationship as men do.
When this happens on a small scale, nobody notices. But when millions of men begin making the same decision, the effect becomes visible. Suddenly the dating market feels different. Approaches become less frequent, competition decreases, and the dynamic that once felt normal starts to shift.
Women's greatest fear is being alone, not being with the wrong person. And our greatest fear is being with the wrong person. Like, I didn't meet my wife until late for the same reason. I was like, I don't want to settle. I don't want to be with somebody. You know, like, I figured out more or less how to date. I figured out kind of what that person wanted. And I can kind of be that version of that, but it didn't make me happy. But the tricky thing is that women, because they're so afraid of being alone, I think a lot of them, they end up being with guys they don't really like. And that's what I think this ick red flag culture is. Have you heard of women on the internet talking about their icks and their red flags? Mm-hmm. When you're with someone you don't like, everything about them is irritating. You just hate the guy you're with, but you're terrified of being alone.
That shift is what's creating concern in some circles. The modern dating culture was built on the idea that men would always participate no matter what. If large numbers of men become comfortable living outside that system, the entire structure begins to change.
It's Valentine's Day, and 70% of men are choosing to stay single. And I don't even blame them, and this shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Dating in this generation is so impossible, and I can talk about it for literally days. It feels like every single woman in this generation is either a gold digger or a bop or both. And so yeah, a lot of men are saying, we choose to be single, we're not gonna deal with this anymore, and I get it. I wouldn't either. That sounds awful. I just saw someone say something today about how I would rather be single than settle. And yeah, me too. I get it. That's Me too. But it's crazy because you'll see women come online and be like, men are so sad and they're so single and they're so alone, but not me. I'm having a good time, just the men are having a bad time. And it's like, girl, be so serious for 2 minutes. Anyway, so happy Valentine's Day to all the singles out there. We see each other. We're right there.
The most interesting part is how quiet the change has been. There hasn't been some huge announcement or coordinated movement. Most of these men are just living normal lives, focusing on work, improving themselves, and enjoying the freedom that comes with independence.
If being alone in equivalency to being unhappy, mistreated, misunderstood, misrepresented, and missed out on versus being in my own company and, as you guys like to tell it, alone, baby, I take my chances with my damn self. I'm a whole lot of fun. I ain't stressing me the fuck out, and I don't be cheap with me. So if you saying, oh, that's where y'all women gonna be alone, I'm fine with that. Don't nobody play with this Gucci like me anyway.
And once a man gets used to a lifestyle where his time, money, and energy belong entirely to him, returning to the chaos of constant dating competition becomes a much harder decision. Because the real problem for the system isn't angry men arguing about it. The real problem is men who have discovered they're perfectly comfortable without it.
Men stopped playing by the rules, and now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.